Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mobile App Academy. This is our live building series where we show you how to build and configure mobile apps on the Now platform. My name is David Ha, and I'm an outbound product manager here at ServiceNow, and I'll be your host for today's session. I also have Charity Katz with me from the Now Learning team to help answer any Q&A that comes up along the way, and we want to give a warm welcome. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome to the session. Our product experts are here to provide guidance, best practices, and answer any questions that do come up along the way. And we do host these mobile app academies once every month at 10 a.m. Pacific, in which our recordings will be posted to YouTube on the ServiceNow Now community channel. And just in case you aren't familiar, these are a few resources that you can check out to self-service, which you can find on our community site. And it points you to all of our essential training materials that you can find, from blogs to FAQs, as well as mobile trainings on Now Learning, and our playlist to all of our previous app academies, which you can find sessions like mobile agent quick start guides, getting started with Now Mobile, and over 30 other sessions. But with that being said, we can go and get started with today's topic, in which we further explore getting started with Mobile App Builder. Today, we're going to deep dive into configuring mobile UI rules. How do I create a mobile UI rule to apply conditional UI stylings to my mobile cards? So that's just a quick example use case. But just to quickly review our schedule for today, we'll start with a quick overview on mobile UI rules, and then we'll jump into the exercise and wrap up with any Q&A. Okay. But let's go ahead and do a quick overview on mobile UI rules. In our last few sessions, we covered write back actions, smart buttons, and navigations. And in today's session, we're going to focus on using mobile UI rules, which will modify the appearance of your cards and input form screens in order for you to apply policies or UI styling, conditional UI stylings. In case you've been using mobile for a while, you might have heard of things like mobile UI policies and mobile UI styling conditions. When we introduced Mobile Card Builder in Quebec, which was quite a few releases ago, we created this new concept of mobile UI rules, and this was going to replace our old way of creating UI rules and UI styling conditions. And by creating this will allow us to enable a whole lot of more use cases, things that you couldn't do before, like apply auto field calculations, and so much more. But just know that, if you're on likely San Diego or any release after that, you're going to be using mobile UI rules. Okay. And if you take a look at my screenshot on the left here, this is a work order task record, and the state and priority fields are highlighted in different colors based on the condition that was met. So you can see that, the state of this was work in progress. And so there was a mobile UI rule that changed the color of that field to blue. And then you also have a priority, if the priority is moderate, high, or critical, change it to these colors in which you set. Okay. And that will indicate to the agent that, this is an important task. You should probably look at this. You can also use your UI rules to apply policies, such as disabling the buttons on your cards, hiding or displaying field elements, making inputs read only or mandatory, as well as auto applying field calculations, right? In today's example, this is going to be a two-part series. Today's example, we will focus on just using mobile UI rules to apply our conditional UI styles. Things like changing the text and background colors, the font colors, as well as being able to add text decorators onto the fields of your mobile cards. And I'll show you just how quick and easy it is to do this. Mobile App Builder and Mobile Card Builder, with our latest Utah release, we've also updated those two tools. If you update those two tools to the latest versions, which you can see in this next slide, version 21.4 for App Builder, as well as 21.6, you'll see that it's gone through a big update in which configuring mobile UI rules has been made much easier. And I'll show you that in our exercise for today. But for today's use case, we are going to use mobile UI rules to highlight fields in my card to indicate to my agents that these are important tasks to look at. The UI rule will give me the ability to change the color, the background, the text color, the background color of that field, as well as being able to apply a text decorator to it if I want. And in order for me to configure this, I just need to complete 3 steps. First, I'll open up Mobile App Builder and find the screen as well as card that I want to apply this to. I'll then open up the card, which will launch me into Mobile Card Builder for me to be able to create that new UI rule. The UI rule will then ask me what are my conditions and triggers, right? And then lastly, you just have to create the rule action in which if the condition is met, then it will apply these colors and text decorators. Okay. So let's get started. I'm going to share a new screen, and the first thing I want to show are the updates that happen for App Builder and Card Builder. So let's pull up the product docs. Every 3 months, or App Builder and the Card Builder have new store updates. They have updates that go through the ServiceNow store. And so I want to show you where you can find these updates. Let's share my entire desktop. One second. It's not what I want. Let's do this desktop. Oh, one more try. Okay, so I think you should be able to see my entire screen now. Mobile device on the left, browser on the right. If you look in product docs, these are where we release our quarterly ServiceNow store releases. And with our store releases, we usually have App Builder that uptakes a few updates, as well as Card Builder that uptake a few updates. For App Builder, this was released just last month in February. As of February, with version 21.4, you can see that App Builder now has full feature parity for all features up to Tokyo. So any new features that we released in Tokyo, all those configurations can now be done in Mobile App Builder. So this should build your confidence that, as you're moving forward with your mobile app configurations, you should use App Builder, because we're trying to consolidate all your configurations on a single panel. You don't want to be able to navigate between so many different tabs and different tools. Maybe you are more familiar with platform UI, but we want to make that experience much easier using the App Builder. And so with this update, you can now see all your configurations, or most of your configurations at least, inside of App Builder. We will actually be meeting full feature parity. Safe harbor notice, but in the next release, the goal is to meet full Utah parity. And with that release, any new feature, regardless of how soon we release it, App Builder should be able to catch all those updates. And so there won't be this weird N-1 feature parity that we have to catch up. So it's something definitely to look forward to. Okay. Next, I want to show you the Card Builder release notes. So let's go ahead and look up Mobile Card Builder release notes. You can also find it on my left-hand nav here. If I click here. The card builder that I have is version 21.6, which was also released last month, along with Utah. And first, they've improved their open screen previews, which are now more representative of the type of cards that users view on their mobile device. So let me go and show you what that means. Oops, looks like my session expired, so let me log back in here. Log in. Let me go and launch into Card Builder here. Card Builder. Okay, so we're now in Card Builder. You can see that there's a lot more details, and the visuals are a lot more representative of the cards that you'll actually open. I think previously, I think it was a very lo-fi representation of the card. Now you can actually see where are the fields being placed, what are those fields. You can see the actual fields being represented here. And you can also see the description of each one of these. Previously, you would only see the title, and when they were added. But if you use the description, it would help your other admins, developers help find the cards that they need or templates, right? And you can see that we've filtered these by cards, card templates, and legacy cards. Legacy cards are what you want to migrate off of, right? Prior to Quebec, if you ever created a new list screen or any screen of some sort, it was using item view JSONs. And those item view JSONs, in order for you to change the overall format of any one of these, you would actually have to go in the JSON and write. It was quite messy and it was very complicated. And so with the introduction of Card Builder, we've migrated over to templates and cards. And so this is what this will hopefully help you sort through some of your old cards versus your new cards. Okay. And again, you can filter through different scopes, see what types of screens that you have, and also sort them by A to Z or last updated. Okay. So that's the first update. The second update is there's now a new built-in condition builder to assist you with your mobile UI rule configurations. Before this release, you would have to define, what exactly which element and the name of that element, and then apply, once you find the element, find that and map that to the conditions and the rules that you want. It was quite of a messy configuration. We've simplified this by just introducing condition builders. If you want a mobile UI rule, you can now select from a pull-down list of fields that you want to apply it to, and then you select the action that it does. Just a few clicks and you have your mobile UI rules. And I'll show you that in today's exercise. We're also supporting things that were supported on UI stylings prior to Quebec. It became a lot harder to do, but we wanted to bring this back so it's much easier. Text decorators. Now it's just a pull-down menu. You can just apply it with that UI role. Date-time configurator. If you want to change your date format from months, year, month, day to days ago or weeks ago, this can now be easily configured with that UI role. Okay. I think that was the main gist of it, but if you want more details, feel free to take a look at the release notes. Okay, so let's go ahead and now jump into the exercise. Let's go ahead and configure a mobile UI role ourselves, and I'll show you some of these latest improvements. Let's read some comments and questions in the meantime before we start. A comment from Mike: love mobile app builder, and having to directly edit JSON to change the font has been a pain. Can't wait to see new updates. Yes, and we're excited there with you, Mike. It's definitely taking the pain away. Some questions. Another question from Mike: is Utah not required to update the tools? Just got to Tokyo. Yes, that is correct. So I am on a Tokyo instance right now. You can actually use the latest versions of App Builder and Card Builder as long as you can access the ServiceNow store. You don't have to wait until Utah to use it. Okay.
And if there are features in it that do have some reliance on the family release version, which in this case definitely wouldn't, because this came out in February and the family release version was not out. But if there is some kind of reliance, then you can still be on the latest version, and those features just will not be included.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for calling that out. Another question from John in the comments. Let's save some of those longer questions.
Yeah, Tony's questions for the end.
Yeah, if we have time, we can get to that. But John asked, do mobile UI roles now appear in Mobile App Builder after saving them and changing which screens you're viewing in Mobile App Builder? Yes. Yes, John. I think you'll be able to see this once I actually start the configuration. So just give me a few minutes and let me know if you have any further questions from that. And is the mobile card builder automatically patched when the new release comes out, or the user has to explicitly update from the store? And so the answer to that is they do have to manually update through the store. You have release updates, which come with the whole family release, and then you have separate ServiceNow store updates. Those you have to uptake yourselves. So these release notes for Card Builder and App Builder, just any mobile store release notes, we've consolidated all on this one single page. And so I'd recommend bookmarking this, and so you can see um, things updates
And they can be
all.
updated through the platform itself, like where you would update plugins and whatnot. It will grab the latest release from the store. Just make sure that you know what you're getting before you do the update.
Perfect. One last question before we get started. Karen, we're planning on just using the mobile app builder or mobile apps. Do we start by building a custom mobile app, or is there something that ServiceNow has as a base for starting? Karen, so that's a really great question. We don't advise anyone to ever start just trying to build an app from scratch. We have all of these out of the box workflows from different business units. They've already built apps based on how customers are typically using the platform for their needs, whether it's ITSM, field service, or employee experience. There's already a out of the box experience for that. And so we'd recommend checking out those experiences, what comes out of the box, figuring out what you need as and how you use the ServiceNow platform, and then documenting those gaps. And then you use our app builder to fill in those gaps, right? So we'd recommend reaching out to your business unit teams, reaching out to your account teams, and making sure you find out what are the experiences available to uptake before you get started. Okay. But okay, so I think that's a good break to now start digging into our configuration. Let's get started with configuring a mobile URI role. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to launch a mobile app builder. Okay. And again, what I'm going to do is what you're seeing on the left-hand side here is I have the out-of-the-box field service mobile app installed. And so this is kind of the experience that you see. This critical task was something that we configured custom, but everything underneath that came out of the box, as you can see. What I want to do is, as an agent, if I look at all my critical tasks, right now I only see highs and criticals, but imagine there was also like low priority work order tasks. I want to be able to highlight some of these to make sure that my agent's eyes are looking at just the most important ones. And so if it's critical or high, let's go ahead and highlight some of these fields so they pop out. Okay. So once I'm in Mobile App Builder, I'm going to launch into Field Service Mobile Scope, since this is the out of the box field service experience, right? All the configurations that they've built inside of this app can be accessed from this scope here. And then since I'm trying to configure a mobile URI role, I'm trying to apply it to this specific screen. And so I'm going to launch this. I'm going to open up this screen. This screen is called critical task. And so I will look up exactly that. Critical task. I'll open that up. And then I need to now find the card of this. Right here, I can keep clicking until I find this card, but if you're more experienced, you can kind of navigate on this left-hand nav here. And quickly, I can see that there is my list screen here, and here's the card that's associated to that list screen. So I'll click on my card and then open up inside of Mobile Card Builder. And then we'll give this just a few seconds to load. I do have a lot of demo experiences downloaded inside of my instance, and so my instance might be a little lower. Okay, so now that it's loaded, you can see that these are the 4 or 5 fields that I have attached to this card. I can apply my mobile URI rule to any one of these elements, whether it's a field or an action. You can see that I have an edit action here. I can apply a UI rule there too. I can apply it to icons. If you look at on the right side, this is your tab for UI roles. You can create a new UI role. You can apply your conditions. And then once you apply your conditions, you create the action, and it'll show you what actions you can apply to that element. For our use case, all I want to do is make this number field pop up anytime that the task is critical or high. So I'm going to add a UI rule here. And we'll name it, task critical task. We'll just call it critical task. And then my condition will be, it's going to ask which one of these fields that I have on this card. I want priority is one of critical and high. So if you're not familiar with this condition builder is completely new. Before this, you would have to actually write out the text yourself. You would have to figure out what the element name is, whether it's container2 text underscore O2, and then you would have to figure out what the available values are. And so you would have to go into the table dictionary and find out what are all the valuables available, and then you would actually write all that out. These condition builders are going to save you a whole lot of time, right? And so this is what you're seeing with the latest enhancement. So now that I have my condition created, I'll go ahead and click add. I want to let you point your eyes over here. After you create a UI rule, if you click on this show UI rule action indicator. Oh, it doesn't show up yet. Okay, so let's actually create the action first. Back on this, after you create your UI rule, you have to navigate your mouse over to this little action button on this right-hand side. It says apply actions to the selected element. I'm going to click this and create my action. You can see that there's 4 actions available based on this element. I can either hide it completely based on the conditions met, or I can change the text color, change the background color, add a text decorator if I want, as well as the decorator color. So these are my UI styling conditions, right? And again, in Next Academy, I'll show you how to apply policies. But let's just focus on these 3 styling conditions. Let's go and change the text color to one of these here. You can see that if you have any theming applied to your instance, you can access it on this second tab here, or you can just pick from one of these colors here. So let's go ahead and just make this text, neutral color. Click save. I'm going to change the background color so that it pops out more. Let's make it like a bright red, and then I'll apply that. And then I can also apply a text decorator among this list of decorators. It can be an alert, a flag. Let's just give it a flag. And then we'll make that flag white, maybe. Hopefully that will show. And then we'll click save. So with just that, I can now just refresh my mobile app by swiping down on that home screen. And I should be able to see the UI rule show up. And there it is. So you can see that there's a white flag next to on that field there. And it's highlighted red. Okay. I can also apply my UI rules to buttons. These buttons, if I tap on this edit button, right, it will allow me to execute whatever that action is. Let's say I created a UI rule here. We'll say critical task action rule. I don't know, maybe we say if the priority is, this doesn't make sense, but I'm just showing an example. If the priority is critical, I'm going to add that. Add a action will disable the button anytime that condition is met, right? Just showing you so it works. Sorry, I'm just showing you this example to show you what it looks like. So if I swipe down, it should be able to hide that button as well. Let's give another refresh. So it looks like it doesn't actually hide it. What it does is it disables the button. So now I can't actually tap on that action anymore because that condition is met. This one's critical. If it's high, I can still execute the action if I want. Okay, so that's just a quick example. So that was a very, very quick introduction into mobile UI rule on how you can use them to apply your UI stylings. Again, this is just part 1. In our next academy, we'll teach you how to use rules to apply your conditional policies. Any questions before we go ahead and wrap up here? Charity, were there any other questions that we want to pull up? We have one question from Mike. Can you show a UI rule example of color change based on a date that's been passed? I was never able to get that to work in San Diego. That is a great question. I haven't tried that before, but we can give it a try. Let's see what it looks like with this new thing. And if we can't get it to work, I can follow back up on, if you post it on the community page, we'll follow back up. But let's give it a try. I'm going to change one of these fields to a date field. I'll apply my conditions and then we'll try to apply an action. Okay. So let's go to App Builder and I will go into this card temp. Oh, no, sorry. Card builder. I can just change the field from here. I'm already on it. Let's just give this field right here a value. I think this is currently pointing to work order task, so I just need a field that has a date here. Or any one of these fields a date. Maybe that's a duration field, travel duration, estimated end. Which one of these is a date for sure? Schedule start. This is probably a date. We'll select that and then save. Let's go ahead and refresh this and see if it pulled up. I'll give it another refresh. Oh, and there's my date. Okay, so now that I have my date field, let's go and try to apply a policy here. Let's create a new UI rule. We'll call this critical task date. It will apply to my expected start. And it looks like it will make, if you had to write this with text, it would be a lot harder. But thankfully, with my condition builder, you can see all the different values that I can pick from. Let's just say that, if the expected start is before today, which I'm trying to force this to trigger. I'm pretty sure this starts before today. This is 2020. So last year, yes, this should work. Let's add this. If this meets the condition, which it does, let's apply a rule. Let's change, the text color to something else. Let's make it purple. We'll save that and then we'll save. And then let's give this a refresh, see what happens. And then one more refresh. Oh, and there it is. So it looks like I was able to get the dates work. I'm sure this configuration was much more difficult prior to the condition builders being introduced. So Mike, hopefully that answers your question. Cool. Love it. Thanks. Awesome. Glad it was helpful.
I've also included a link in the chat to a docs page that has some high contrast combinations. So you can actually add the hex code instead of picking a color. So if you have, ADA concerns or something, you can use those. Or if you have a developer who is colorblind, which worked with, then they can just choose that and they don't have to worry about whether or not the colors are correct.
Perfect. Oops. So I'll give Dad a call back later. Mike, Akshay, there's a question. Is this the first lecture in the series? No, it is not. If you go to YouTube and actually, no, let me point you to community. That's better. Community will just give you all of the lectures and videos that you can access. You scroll down on this mini site and click on sign up for Mobile App Academy. Here you can see all of our past academies and links to it. Okay. Oops, looks like I forgot to hyperlink. So I need to go ahead and do that. But on YouTube, if you look up Mobile App Academy, we have a playlist here. View full playlist, you can see all of our past videos. Okay.
Now, if you're asking in regard to like UI rules and styles, this is the first of, I believe, two. I think you're just going to have two on UI rules and styles using the new functionality that was added in February.
Exactly. Tony, I'm going to ask because that's kind of more of a platform question. Can you please ask it on the community page, and hopefully someone will follow up. I don't have answers to all those questions at the moment. So Tony, please post your questions to the community sites. But with that being said, thank you all for joining us today. If you found this session helpful at all, please let us know in our post-session survey. There's going to be a few questions that ask you what topics you want us to explore in the future. We love getting that kind of feedback, so please let us know. Also want to mention, we are scaling back our academies from bi-weekly to monthly. And so our next session will be on April 28th, in which we'll cover how to the second piece of mobile UI rules, which is how to apply your policies. We are getting ready for knowledge, and so knowledge is coming up middle of May, and so hopefully I'll see some of you there. And with that being said, thank you all for joining in today, and we hope to see you again next month at our next Mobile App Academy. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.